Hello. I don't know whether to say good morning or good afternoon. We're just on the cusp, aren't we?
We certainly are, but good afternoon, Madam Mayor.
Lovely, lovely to see you. We have met once before, a long time ago. I came along to one of the evenings at the College Works that recognises all the achievements, and it was an absolutely magical evening. You run a place that's got such a great atmosphere, and people are so engaged. You must feel very, very proud.
I am. I have to say, it is the best job, and those evenings are the pinnacle of the job. They are wonderful. The celebration of our students and the achievements that they've done, and the absolute, as you say, the wonderful atmosphere with parents, our employers, our staff. It just is a wonderful place to be.
And like everybody else, I expect it's been, I don't know what to call it, it's certainly been a strange year for you this year. How has it been for you and your team?
It's been, as you say, strange, difficult, disruptive, whatever word you want to use. Challenging, probably, in many respects. We were told to close on the 23rd of March, which we did. And we had to really get everything up and running within a week, which we again managed. We continued our students' delivery online, most of it, although we did remain open for our vulnerable students throughout the summer period until we reopened formally in September. So they always had a place to go, what we call a safe space, so that they could actually go to. It was challenging. The staff, I have to say, were fantastic. They really worked very hard on some of the new techniques of delivery online, which is very different to face-to-face, and monitoring and checking our students, making sure that they were in a good place and that they could access and direct them to places if they needed any additional agency support as well. So it was challenging. I think we rose to the occasion, but so did our students. Our students were, again, really fantastic. They we've all learned a lot of new skills. I thought Teams was a wonderful invention until you get 13 Teams meetings back to back, and then you realise that it's perhaps not quite as.
I don't know if you do. I was well, not having a moan, but I was saying to someone this morning, I spent a lot. I've used Zoom more than Teams generally, and I must have spent about 12 hours yesterday on various Zoom calls. I was absolutely shattered. In fact, I think I was more tired than I would have been had they been face-to-face meetings. Do you feel the same?
Absolutely agree, because they do come back to back, generally speaking, and you don't have time just to get up and walk around or socialise, or at least just go and grab a cup of tea or coffee or something. It is continuous and very intense. It's not as if there's any social side to it. It is, you're in a meeting and it's full on straight from the beginning. So yes, I agree with you on that, most definitely.
And have you found there are some things that, as you say, people have had to adapt to really quickly that you might consider keeping going once the pandemic is under control or over or whatever it is? Have there been any sort of silver linings to what has been an absolutely dreadful time?
There's been a number of silver linings, and yes, it has been dreadful. We can't forget that, but there's been some benefits as well. Our blended learning, which is kind of online and face-to-face, we do more of that, and we will keep a proportion of that going, because we have engaged with some students more readily online than they would naturally coming into college. For example, we do a lot of community work. We have 30 plus venues within the community where we deliver, so like local youth centres and village halls and various things. So we deliver courses online there. Now often those students don't come into college. They don't, they're starting back into learning. They sometimes need a little bit more confidence in order to come across our threshold within the city or at our Summer Valley campus, and consequently, they don't necessarily get the welfare and the support that we offer for those that are with us on a day-to-day basis. What we have found is that online, because we're delivering online, they will talk to our welfare officers more readily than they would previously. So there has been some real benefits, the way we deliver, but also some social benefits for our students, because they feel a bit more confident when they're not necessarily face to face, and they have, and we found a large number of mature students willing to talk to us where previously they were a bit more reticent.
Oh, that is good. That is really good. It is weird, isn't it? I think one of the common themes I found in chatting to a lot of people, like we have been doing, is the fact that, as you so rightly acknowledge, it has been dreadful, but there have been things that we've learned. You know, what is the phrase? Necessity being the mother of invention.
Absolutely.
That are now good things that we can kind of cling on to as we go forward. What have you got? I know you don't have a crystal ball. I don't think any of us do. But what are your plans now for the beginning of next year? How are you thinking it's going to go, or how would you like it to go?
I think we're going to be in a very similar situation to where we are immediately after Christmas. I do believe there will be a spike. Most of our delivery at this moment is about 50-50, 50% of face-to-face classroom and 50% online. We will continue that at least for the first 2 or 3 weeks after Christmas, in order that if there is a spike, and we're not pulling students in when it's not necessary, and so we'll continue that, but we'll review it. So I'm hoping to, as the vaccines take place and as the tests take place and we become a bit more open in the society and we come down a tier, then we will be opening up more to our classroom delivery as opposed to online. So that's how I think it will go. As you say, we will have to wait and see. But what I would say is one of the key things that we really will be reinforcing throughout the new year is that one of the things that we did find was a lot of our students don't have access to digital learning.
Right.
A real issue, both 16 to 18-year-olds, which might surprise some people, but also our mature students that are in the community. And over the, when we closed down in March, we lent out about 150 laptops and to students so that they can continue working. Now, what we have found with the blended learning, although there's real positives, because they don't necessarily have that access, that's one of the things that we're really reinforcing and trying to find funding for in order that we can get more out to the community and more out to our 16 to 18-year-olds that don't necessarily have access to either machines or Wi-Fi. So
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? One of the things I think that again has come it's something that's always existed in our society, but this pandemic shone a bit of a light on it, is there's an inequality of access, and there are areas where things have been able to continue absolutely the same because everybody in the household has got a up-to-date laptop and there's sufficient Wi-Fi, and there's other areas where that just isn't the case. And at the critical times of learning, like as you say, maybe the 16 to 18-year-olds, we've got to do everything we can to make sure that equality is made as even as possible. What have you been able to do on, because you do some, and I look at your prospectus every time. I've done a couple of courses with you, but I sometimes look at the prospectus for the sort of the 16 to 18-year-olds. You do quite a few of practical things. So I'm thinking about stuff like the animal husbandry and how have you managed to be able to do that? Has that been able to continue, or has a lot of that sort of going out, doing stuff just not been able to happen?
We've continued with that. Starting in September, there was that stopped a lot over the summer months, as you would anticipate, because it was a complete lockdown. But since September, we've introduced the bubbles and the system. So with social distancing, we've provided all our students with face masks and all the equipment that any business has to have with sanitizing and solutions and dispensers and various things like that. So that's all gone on. The bubble system has worked very well, but it does mean the reason why we are on a 50-50 basis is that we only have half the class in at a time because of the social distancing. But more of the practical sessions like horticulture, small animals, the trades like the brick, carpentry and joinery have more practical sessions. So they tend to be in a bit more than others that are classroom based. So like business and accountancy, they tend to be more online. So we've had to amend it as best we possibly can. But yes, we're continuing, most definitely.
Brilliant. You are brilliant. I love Bath College. I always, when people talk about educational institutions in Bath, and they, quite rightly point to the two universities and talk about that. I always say Bath College and Norland. I think what you do, especially because a lot of your students are from the more local area, is just amazingly good. And on behalf of the City of Bath, two things before I do the final thing on behalf of the City of Bath. I'd like to thank one of the ladies who helped set this up, who is a really good friend of mine, Alice Stevens, who I love very much, and is now going on maternity leave. So I want to take this opportunity. This will probably embarrass her, but all the best, thinking of you, hope everything goes well. But also on behalf of the City of Bath, thank you. Thank you for being a college that we can rightfully be proud of. Thank you for adapting so much during last year, and we wish you absolutely all the best for next year. And thank you for your personal time today. Really appreciated.
Thank you so much for such kind words. With regard to Alice, wonderful, a real treasure and a brilliant member of our college community. So yes, we do wish you well as well, and we can't wait. But also for your very, very kind words with regard to the college. I am immensely proud of this college. I think it's a wonderful place to be, and I am immensely proud of our staff and how well our students have behaved as well. So yeah, I am probably in the best job in the world, but thank you very much for having me.
Joint best job in the world.
Joint best job in the world, absolutely.
Enjoy your Christmas. Thanks ever so much, Laurel.
You too. Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure.